Please do not let my calm demeanour fool you, as I am on the brink of an actual aneurysm. If you remember a few videos ago, I did my first ever RMR Reacts on the situation at Red Bull Racing. And I mentioned in it that the next race, Formula One race, would be at Checo's home race. I did the video on Red Bull's second driver, Sergio Perez, and I mentioned that the next race was his home race, and there was, obviously, that was his opportunity to redeem himself. And so I was very excited to see what he would do. And there was a lot of hype. Obviously, he is absolutely adored in Mexico City. He is absolutely loved. There are hundreds of thousands of fans that come out, pay thousands of pounds to come see their hero, Sergio Perez, in his home country, his hometown, absolutely dominate and finally redeem himself. So obviously, what did he go and do? Yes, that's right. He qualified behind Ricciardo. The guy who he is competing to be replaced beat him in qualifying in the worst car on the grid. Let me explain further for any of you who aren't avid Formula One viewers. So the weekend is split up across 3 days. Friday is practice. This is in a standard weekend. Friday is practice, where all the drivers get to go out and practice their running, practice for the race, practice for the qualifying. On Saturday is qualifying. Drivers have a set amount of time. There's a big timer that comes up, and drivers have that amount of time to set the fastest one lap they can. See who can go round one lap the quickest. And then on Sunday is a race. And the race starts in a grid like this, in the order that qualifying was. So the fastest man in qualifying starts at the front, and the slowest starts at the back, and so on in rows of two. And the qualifying is really where you see where the slowest cars are at, because they're usually around the same place. There's usually two cars together, the two teammates in the same team together, because that's usually where you gauge how quick the car is. And the Red Bull car, as I mentioned in the last video, is the quickest car on the grid. It is the best Formula One car in the world ever. It is the best Formula One car ever. In terms of right now, in terms of how dominant in contextually in the era, that's different. But right in the history, just on performance, the best car right now is the Red Bull. And the worst car is the AlphaTauri. Now, Daniel Ricciardo, if you don't know, this is his first race back after his boo-boo hand. You'll need to watch the first RMR Reacts to get the full context on this. But Daniel Ricciardo, I mentioned, he is competing for Checo's seat at the top team at Red Bull. And he's in the worst car. So Checo needs to be worried if Daniel Ricciardo is getting within 5 places of him. But that's not what happened. Daniel Ricciardo beat him in qualifying. And I don't think you understand how absolutely atrocious that is. That is the worst performance you could possibly imagine. Actually, no, it's not the worst performance you could possibly imagine. It would be the worst performance if you could possibly imagine is if Daniel Ricciardo didn't pull an absolute blinder out of somewhere, out of his little Australian asshole, and fucking whooped ass. He's got a teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, who's been in that team for 2 years, and Daniel Ricciardo may have just bent him over the back of the car and fucking railed him, because that was just an absolutely dominant performance from Ricciardo. This is by the by. Afterwards, after qualifying, we can put that aside and we can go into the race, because you don't get any points for qualifying. The real points are the race. And Checo, before then, had been determined to win, absolutely adamant that he was going to win his home race. So what do you think happened?
And the Mexico City Grand Prix is going. Checo Perez trying to go around the outside. He's made contact. He's made contact with Charles Leclerc into the first corner.
It took him one corner. It took him one corner. It's one fucking corner into the race, and you're already twatting it into the... What's this? I've told him, it's one corner. It took you one corner to fuck it up. It took you one... I've told him he needs to stop shagging Ukrainians, but he won't fucking listen to me. I'm calm. I'm honestly, I'm so calm. I am the calmest I've ever been. I've never been this calm. I'm actually so zen right now. No, because I've reached a moment of clarification. I've actually just realised what all this is. It's just shit. Anyway, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to be reasonable. I am calm, and I'm going to be reasonable. What we need to do, right, there's a few races left in the season, okay? Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez can battle it out for the 2024 Red Bull seat. All Checo needs to do is have a good performance on the next race in Brazil. He needs to get, at least maybe a top 5 qualifying position. And then maybe, I don't know, a podium in the race, and I'd be satisfied. As long as he doesn't get beaten by Daniel Ricciardo again, it's fine. So all he needs to do is just have a good result.